Hey everyone, Motoi here. And after how last year it went down, I say we're long overdue for a big old W instead of an L this time around. I honestly thought that Cyberpunk 2077 would make it worth my while for surviving that hell year, but whenever it released out in December, it wasn't as breathtaking as we all thought it was. From the NPCs popping out of their virtual plane of existence, to the bare bones and barely working police system, the game is a hollow shell that's riddled with numerous, and I mean numerous, technical and design issues that plague it to this very day. In other words, it's just a complete mess. It's all so tragic, really, and it really burns at my soul, knowing that this game could have been amazing and groundbreaking, but hiccups during development and horrid mismanagement kept that from happening on day one. However, there was one game in particular that released in the same year as Cyberpunk, but I would dare say it was a lot more fleshed out and a lot more fun than what that game ever was, and it was the Demon's Souls remake by Bluepoint Interactive that I found myself being drawn to time and time again. The combination of getting my ass handed to me by a plethora of ungodly abominations, all mixed in with the satisfaction with me finally killing them, made the experience all the worthwhile, and it took me back to a much simpler and sweeter time where I had spent many hours playing the Dark Souls series with my beloved brother Tony. We had spent many days grinding, exploring, and dominating all those horrid creatures that sent us back to the great beyond again and again and again until we finally exterminated them like the wretched vermin that they were. And it was a truly magical experience, and I'm surprised that it even happened at all, considering how my original interest in the Dark Souls series had died off so quickly starting off. It all started off with me hearing so many good things about the first game that I really wanted to try out for myself, and I had begged and begged my mom to get a copy of that for me on my 16th birthday, and whenever that came around, she got me a copy of Dark Souls 2 instead. And little did I know that it was the worst entry in the series, period, and I became very detached from it not long after I played it.
What do you suppose it could be?
Well, judging by the markings and the obvious age of the relic, I'd have to say it would be garbage!
I don't know whether it was the game's shitty graphics, its horrible difficulty, or how it just wasn't what I was expecting from a Dark Souls game. Or maybe a combination of all those things. But whatever it was, it not only killed my interest in not only that game, but also the rest of the franchise as a whole. Even after finding out how horrible DS2 was compared to the other two games, I went out and got myself a copy of Dark Souls 1 for myself this time around, but by then, I didn't have the motivation to play the game. I didn't know where it was just the bad taste Dark Souls 2 left in my mouth, or maybe it was just a general decline with my interest in gaming as a whole. Whatever it was, I just didn't have the motivation to play it. That was until my brother Tony caught wind of me having the first game in my possession and wanted to try it out for himself. And me being the good sibling that I am, I was more than happy to oblige. Our little journey of jolly cooperation began some time ago on our Xbox 360, to where we could only play it if we had the controller hooked up through a little USB cable on the top, because we could never, ever, ever find enough fucking batteries for that thing to work otherwise. Anyways, it'll start off with me letting him play first, and he would do just fine until he would get stuck on a part, whether it be a boss or a whole brigade of spooky, scary skeleton men that always seem to jump him. And then he would pass the controller off to me. Then I would play it for a little bit after I beat that portion, and then after I got a little bored, pass the controller back off to him. This would eventually turn into me and him just taking turns playing the game, up to the point where we were at the last boss fight with Lord Gwent, I believe his name was, and we were done. And then after, we moved on to the second game, and then finally to the third game. The latter of which I actually got from him as a Christmas present, because I knew he'd fallen in love with the series so much, I figured he'd enjoy it. Even though I advised him to skip on the second game, we still went through it anyway. Mainly because my brother's not the kind of guy to back down from a challenge so easily, even if that challenge is a bit more fuckier in game design. So, regardless, I'd say whatever game we played, I always managed to have a frustrating but yet really, really fun time hanging out with him. As I think about this a bit more, another thing that comes to mind for me throughout all the times we had spent playing Dark Souls together was the player-created character that my brother made that we had used throughout all 3 games in the series. A character which I can only describe as the malformed clone of Eustace Bagg from Courage the Cowardly Dog, if he managed to have a nose that was just as big as his chin and had really squinty eyes that were really close together and right up against the bridge of his nose. A character that we would use as a sort of vessel throughout all of our journeys in the Dark Souls series. And that goofy looking bastard would become a slayer of both gods and monsters alike. Going back to the present day, me and my brother still manage to play Dark Souls together on occasion, and we can hardly wait to hear more news about FromSoft's latest and greatest project, Elden Ring, brought to you in part by the same guy who created the Dark Souls series, or rather directed it, Hidetaka Miyazaki, and the same guy who made the Game of Thrones series, George R.R. Martin, in a sort of collaborative effort. The game itself is supposedly From Software's most ambitious and biggest game to date, and the announcement trailer that I saw for it just only left me wanting to know more and more about it. Damn it, From Software! It's been 2 years since then. Please just give us something, anything, just a little tiny crumb of information about the game. Hell, I'm even willing to take a 60 FPS patch for Bloodborne if you have that. Though, the latter, that probably might have to do something with copyright issues and such with Sony's end, with them holding the rights to the IP. Whereas they were able to do it with other titles like Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro, but not Bloodborne. So, guess I'm kinda screwed on that end. Until then, I'm probably gonna have to be waiting quite a while before I can play that fabled game. And hopefully get to enjoy some nice wholesome moments with my brother and jolly cooperation, whether it be just doing online play, if that's ever possible, or maybe just doing like we did back in those days and just took turns with the controller. You know, something on the lines of that. I wouldn't mind at all. Until next time, guys, this has been Madre Mothra signing off. I'm out. Wait! You can catch me on my live streams at twitch.tv/MadreMothra on weekends at 4 p.m. CST. You can normally see me on like Saturdays and such. I also do streaming on Sundays sometimes too, but depends. It's kind of working around my class schedule. But anyways, that's all I gotta say, guys. I hope you have a good one. I'm out.